So today we're going to be repairing the veneer. We've got a large section here, a small section here, another one above it, and we're going to match up with this veneer that we've got. We've picked the lightest veneer that we have, which is pretty similar in colour, and we might be able to darken it up a little bit with some stain to blend it in. Now we use tracing paper or masking tape to scribe out the shapes that we want to cut out. At the moment we just want to get an approximate shape. We're going to cut 2 petals and we're going to have to cut them both into each other. So we're just going to get a rough idea of the size of the piece that we want to cut out. Now I find tracing paper is more accurate, but masking tape is faster, and we can also stick masking tape straight onto the veneer. So we will do both ones. We'll do tracing paper to start with, and then we'll use some masking tape in some of the other petals that we're going to be cutting in as well. So we're just going to put this one in place, and then we have to cut another piece that's going to be next to it. So we're just going to cut that edge to match this edge, and then we'll cut out the 2 pieces that we'll glue in here. Now these are really small. We do have it zoomed in. Most of these pieces that we're going to be putting in are smaller than a fingernail. Now we're just going to cut the other side as well of our patch. And we've got 2 that we're just going to put in here. Now we're just going to scribe the outside line so we can cut our new piece into the flower. We have got some glue in that as well, and residue that we just scrape off. And then we're just going to cut our shape in here. Now this is really fiddly work. It is time consuming. Not only have we got to try and cut the petals in, we've also got to make sure that we get a colour that is similar. So we've got those 2 pieces in. There is still 2 more pieces of the branch that we'll have to do as well. Now we've masked off our area, we're just going to drop in some 5-minute epoxy. For small pieces like this, we find epoxy is definitely the best glue. It gives us a 5-minute window before the glue goes off to make sure that we get everything in place. We have tried doing this before with animal glue, and it tends to gel up before we can get the pieces in place. So we definitely like to use epoxy for these tiny small repairs. Now we'll just remove our masking tape, and we wipe down with a rag that's got alcohol on to wipe the glue off. Now we've got this little section that's above as well. It's very small, but it has to be filled so it all looks nice when we polish the top. Again, we just put them in place, put some pressure down to get some squeeze out from the glue, make sure they're in place, and then we just hold down with our finger for about 5 minutes until the glue sets, and then we pull off our tape and we move on to the next repair. So this little tiny one here, again they're very small, but they do stand out, so we have to fill them. again, and then we just push down with some pressure with a rag that's got alcohol on. Make sure they're in place and hold down again for another 5 minutes, and then we just peel our masking tape off. And we will be able to scribe onto those patches to blend them in a bit more when we're polishing as well, but that colour, we're kind of happy with that colour. It's very close. Now on the other flower, we've got a big section here that's missing. We've got one there, and we've got 2 pieces here that we've already cut. We've got this one here, and we're going to glue these ones in place as well. Now I just used a piece of black walnut for the darker timber. That was as close as we could get that would match. We mask off our area again, and we're going to put some epoxy into the bed. Now we'll put our piece of black walnut in there, and then our 2 little pieces of boxwood in there. Again, we just push down to get the squeeze out of the glue. Make sure that we've got alcohol on the rag so we don't stick the rag to the piece that we're trying to put in place. And then we'll just remove our masking tape, and that's the side of that flower done now as well. Now we have the big patch as well on this flower that we're going to have to put a piece in. But before we do that, we're just going to put this little piece in the top here. Again, it's very fiddly, very delicate. We just take our time and make sure that we get them all in place. Again, plenty of pressure, get lots of squeeze out from the glue. Make sure that our rag has got alcohol on it. Now we've just scribed out our next shape. We're going to use the masking tape method this time. We're going to leave the masking tape stuck onto the piece that we've cut out, which is helping because the veneer that we're using is very dry and very brittle, and it has been crumbling a lot. So we're going to move on to just using the masking tape to help hold the veneer in place. Now we're just scribing our shape. This one looks a little bit like a duck's head or a bird's head. And then we're just going to glue this piece in here. So we cut the pieces and then we scribe around them to get a nice tight fit. Again, plenty of epoxy, and we have cleaned the bed out so it's nice and flat as well. And epoxy is waterproof as well, so this is why this has been damaged. It has been water damaged, and that's why the veneer has lifted up. Sometimes we can find the pieces in the drawers and we're lucky enough to have the pieces that we're missing, but on this occasion all the veneer that is missing was not in the drawers, so we had to cut some new ones. And again, we will stain these in a bit more to make them blend in when we're polishing. Now we have these little scroll balls at the bottom here that's right in front of you when you're sitting, so we have to do them, and we've got another piece at the top here as well. So the more we're getting into it, we are finding more pieces missing, and we'll just keep doing that as we go. Keep the masking tape that we've scribed around, and then we'll just stick that onto the veneer, and then we can just cut the shape out we want with some scissors. And that's our next shape. Again, it's very, very small. We are zoomed in with the camera, so you can see what we're doing. And again, we'll just stick our next piece in. Hold the pressure down for 5 minutes until the glue sets, and then we'll just take off our masking tape, and that's another piece that we've got in place. Now these little scrolls, one of them actually overlaps the other one, so this is going to be quite tricky to cut a tiny piece of veneer for this shape. Again, we will use the blue masking tape to try and hold the veneer together, because it just keeps crumbling on us all the time. But that's the shape that we want. So we've cut our shape out, and we're just going to glue her in place. And again, we'll put some pressure on with our thumb to hold it down until the glue sets, and we'll pull off our masking tape. Now there is a piece missing next to it as well. Again, we stick the masking tape down, and we'll just scribe around with a pencil so we know the shape to cut out. And we'll glue this one in place as well. It's definitely fiddly. Just got to make sure that they sit in place before the glue goes off. Now we have another one at the bottom here as well. The more we're getting into this, the more we're finding. So we'll just keep doing this as we proceed. We're only going to do the main ones. Some of them are just too small, and we'll just put a little bit of wood putty into some of the real small ones. Now we're moving back up to the top flowers again, and we're just going to do the branch or the stem that joins where the flower is. And we've got 2 pieces here that we have to put in, and we've also got a little piece of stem that's missing as well, so we'll cut that while we're here. So that's that part of the stem. Now this piece here was pretty difficult to cut, because we've had to cut it across the grain, and the veneer being so brittle and so fragile just kept breaking up all the time. So we're just going to clean out the area where we're going to glue that into. It's going to go in there. get all the filler and all the glue out, and then we'll mask off our area and we'll glue in our little stem. Definitely a tricky one, this one. And just put her in place, and the epoxy will form a mould around the timber and hold it in place, and it will not come out again. That's one thing we do like about the epoxy. Now we're just going to lightly trim down the top so that it's level with the surrounding petals, and then we're going to glue in the last part of the stem or branch that's missing, and then we will put a few little lines in there as well to blend in the petals when we're polishing. I have some 240 grit paper, sandpaper. Just going to smooth the top of these two petals that we've inlaid in. Blend them in with the ones next to it. And then we've got our last little piece of stem here that we're going to glue in place. We remove the masking tape just before the glue goes off, just to make sure that we have got it in the position that it has to be in. And that's that little tiny one done as well. Again, we just keep wiping the glue down with alcohol. Make sure the surface is clean. So it's looking a lot better now. Now we have got some walnut stain here that we've watered down to make it a lot lighter in colour. That should just blend in these repairs. Very, very similar in colour, as you can see there. So we're just going to, this is a water-based stain. It's a natural walnut stain that's made with walnut husks. They're called Van Dyke crystals, and they really help to patternise anything that's sort of a walnut colour, any antiques. It is quite hard to purchase, but I have seen it for sale on Amazon, and it is quite expensive as well, but it's a fantastic water-based stain, and we use it a lot. So that's just about it. The next video we're going to be polishing. The next video will be the last video. There is a playlist so you can follow along with this restoration. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.